What do we want from Bond 26? Well, my first choice would be what I think a lot of other people's first choice would be. Let's go back to basics. Hi guys, it's me. And I thought I would grab a quick beer with you and have a quick chat about what I want out of the next James Bond movie, Bond 26. And I'm going to make a bunch of different videos with different things and try and keep them short and snappy. And the first thing I want from the next James Bond movie, which I think pretty much everybody would agree with, is I want things to go back to basics. James Bond movies are formulaic. They are wonderfully formulaic. And I think a lot of people frown on things that are formulaic because they think they're unoriginal or something like that. And I honestly believe that the opposite is true. It couldn't be further from the truth. I think formula is everything. If you break down what a story is, if you use someone like Dan Harmon's 9-point story circle, you can see even the most basic of stories follows a formula. And then when you get into other genres like romance, you have a very specific formula, and formulas work. People read romance novels because they want to read a formula. It's like poetry. People read Jack Reacher books because they want to follow a formula. Science fiction is a formula. TV shows, they used to be formulaic. Like you'd sit down and you'd watch an episode of Knight Rider and it would follow a formula. A-Team, it would follow a formula. Formulas work. Formulas are beautiful. And James Bond, the whole series for the longest time, had such a satisfying formula to it. The pre-credit sequence, the gun barrel bit, the theme tune with all the dancing naked ladies, the bit where he meets M, the bit where he gets his gadget from Q, the bit where he uses his gadget with Q, the bit where he meets the girl, he makes out with the girl, the bad guy explaining his plot in elaborate detail, the wonderful bad guy headquarters, every single part of it is like a formula. And that's what makes James Bond movies work, and that's why they are so satisfying. And that's why, over the span of the entire 25 James Bond movies, they've managed to survive for 60 years. There is nothing else like it. There is no other franchise in which there are 25 movies. And James Bond has survived by following this formula, giving people what they want. And as much as I liked No Time to Die, and as much as I liked a lot of the Craig era, the thing I think that we don't want repeated is getting rid of the formula. I mean, I know when they did the reboot of Casino Royale, it's like, oh, we're not going to have a gun barrel sequence at the beginning because it was so fucking edgy. And so they did, and it happened. Casino Royale was a fantastic movie. Quantum of Solace, they were like, let's just have some LSD and then do the editing in that way. That makes no sense. We're going to make it like the Bourne Identity. We're going to have this plot. It's going to be fast paced. It's going to be like a car accident. So you don't quite know what's going on. And it's like, you know what? You should have stuck with the formula. Skyfall returned to formula. Really, really solid movie. Spectre kind of stuck to the formula, but the writing fell apart. And then No Time to Die was its own thing. And I think No Time to Die is beautiful. But the formula is what makes it work. And to me, if I was thinking like the era I would like to revisit as a Bond fan, I'm really, really, really nostalgic about the Pierce Brosnan eras. Because to me, those were up till Die Another Day, and Die Another Day right up until like the Icelandic bit. They were brilliantly consistent movies because they took the Bond formula and they stuck to it. Yeah, GoldenEye did things a little differently, but Tomorrow Never Dies and The World Is Not Enough are just two of the strongest Bond movies in the canon. I genuinely think that. And if you disagree with me, let's have a fight about it. Come on, leave me a comment down below. Right, I thought they were really, really strong as far as movies go. And I think if you could just have a James Bond movie that stuck to that formula and delivered on that formula in a satisfying way, it would be great. And the wonderful thing about formulas is you have a formula and then you mix it up. And that's what makes it so satisfying. There's a great TV show in England by a bunch of comedians. One of them is Charlie Higson, who wrote the Young Bond series. It was called The Fast Show. It was the most amazing sketch comedy show because what happened is every week you would have the same sketches again and again with slight variations. And I remember my brother came home from Hungary once and he'd never seen this show, and we were watching like episode 12 or something, and he was like, I don't get it. What's so funny? They're just saying these catchphrases again and again. I'm like, yeah, if you watch 12 episodes of them doing the catchphrases in all of these different ways, then it's hilarious. And that's what has traditionally worked really well in James Bond movies. First couple of James Bond movies, like he'd walk into Moneypenny's office and throw the hat and it would land on the hat rack. And then the next one, the hat rack would be behind the door, so he'd have to go, And the next one, he'd throw the hat and be caught. Another one, it would be Moneypenny's hat that gets caught. You have something that's in the formula, and then you stray away from the formula a bit in a way that's consistent with it. It's poetry. It really is poetry. So I think the thing that they really, really need to get right in Bond 26 is a Bond film that follows the formula, because it is a formula for success. It is the most successful cinematic formula that has ever existed. So there we go. Back to basics. Let's start where we began and follow the formula, because the formula always delivers. Anyway, that's the first thing that I want out of Bond 26. I'll come up with something else tomorrow. Ciao. I'm Roland Hume. I've sold 67,000 copies of my books. If you want to find out how I did it, I've got the link right here you can click. And otherwise, don't forget to subscribe. I've got more videos coming soon. Thank you.